Yes, definitely. So AI has been a force of disruption lately, changing how companies operate throughout the world. Now, here are the top 10 AI predictions by Gartner. Now, by 2027, Gartner has predicted that Gen AI and AI agents will seriously disrupt productivity tools in 30 years, triggering a $58 billion market shakeup. And by 2027, AI skills testing will become standard in 75% of hiring processes. And by 2026, due to atrophy of critical thinking skills, 50% of firms will use AI-free tests to check real thinking skills. Now, next up, we have by 2027, 35% of the countries will rely on regional proprietary AI platforms, and by 2028, companies using multi-agent AI across 80% customer processes will be leading the market. And by 2028, again, the next prediction is that 90% of B2B buying will happen via AI agents, pushing over $15 trillion in B2B spending through AI agent exchanges alone. Now, another prediction is that by the end of 2026, death by AI lawsuits will cross 2,000 mark due to weak risk controls. And again, by 2030 now, 1 in 5 transactions will be programmable, enabling AI to transact autonomously. And by 2027, agentic AI will cut inefficiencies in service contracts by at least 50% due to agentic AI reinvention. And by, again, the next prediction is that by 2027, fragmented AI rules will cover half the global economy, driving a $5 billion compliance spend.
We have joining us today Vala Afsar, who is the Chief Digital Evangelist at Salesforce, and Naveen Mishra, who is the Vice President at Gartner India Research. Vala, thank you very much for joining us today. We are at a point where technology is getting re-engineered and companies have to relook at the way they're going to do services or give services to customers and clients globally. To begin with, how do you see Indian companies transitioning to AI environment?
Thank you for having me, and a great question. My company, Salesforce, over the last 10 plus years, we have experienced 4 waves of innovation when it comes to artificial intelligence. The first wave, which started around 2014 for us at Salesforce, was the predictive use of machine learning and AI. And then we saw a transition to the second wave, which was the generative wave. And most of the world woke up in 2022, late 2022 in November, with the moment of recognizing the power of artificial intelligence in terms of generative capabilities. And now we're experiencing wave 3 and 4, in my opinion, concurrently, which is the agentic era. This is now software that understands languages, natural language processing. It has reasoning capabilities. It has agency and autonomy to take action in terms of complex workflows in business, and it continuously learns and improves and adapts. And at the same time, we also see the physical wave of AI: drones, humanoid robots, autonomous vehicles. And in my 30 years of technology, and I used to think the web was perhaps the most important technology of my lifetime. Now I view wave 3 specifically, agentic AI, as electricity for the 21st century. It's the most important technology of my lifetime. And customers of ours around the globe have AI as their #1 priority, from the CEO all the way down to any of the C-suite line of business leaders.
Well, Vala articulated very well, Naveen. But when you look at Indian companies, how do you think Indian companies are faring, and how do you think they're able to transition to this new era?
Thanks again for having me here. And in the context of Indian companies, what we see is there is a staged maturity pathway, and that pathway includes 3 phases. Phase 1, which basically talks about the pilot, the experimentation, doing POCs, starting small, finding those use cases. That's where majority of the Indian enterprises are. They are piloting, they're experimenting. Now from there, then we move to the second phase, which is the stabilization. And this is where Indian companies are working very hard to get that AI-ready data, that regulation, that governance, that risk management, all of that is getting done, debated. And that's where some of the early adopters who have moved through the first phase, they are working on the second phase and handling the complexities. And then the third phase, as we call it, which is a cross-enterprise adoption, where there is a product embedded AI. Now, Indian enterprises are still not there. Very handful of Indian enterprises who are doing it. So when you think of this three-staged pathway, a lot of the Indian organizations are in the pilot stage, and now they are pivoting towards the second one, which is stabilizing the environment, getting the AI-ready data, getting governance, all of that together. This is where we believe that the next 12 months of effort, or even more than that, is going to be spent by enterprises, by even providers who are spending a lot of money into this whole AI environment. So that's how we see AI adoption in India.
Naveen, if you speak to some of the investors globally, and they claim that India is an anti-AI trade for them because we are in early stage of adapting to AI or in executing AI, but we are very far off from where some of the companies in the West or maybe some of the companies in China are. How critical you think is critical thinking skills will be, and how will it impact IT companies? Do you think that there is a code to how to manage AI and AI services?
Well, this is a complex question, and let me break it down one by one. India, I don't think, is anti-AI trade. For example, India has plans like AI Mission. Indian data center companies are investing a lot of money into GPU as a service, which actually acts as that AI infrastructure to train and drive models, frontier models, some of the popular LLMs which are there, they are getting trained in India for the Indian customers. And that's part of the trade and AI trade that we can think of. So clearly there is more investment, and we have seen the news of how variety of, large data centers, such as one which is coming up, 1 gigawatt data center, which is coming up in southern part of the country. So more and more such data centers are coming, and that illustrates that there is a huge investment happening within India. That's one part. The second part, which is the critical thinking, and yes, there is this ongoing debate about cognitive skills. What's the role of these cognitive skills within India and in general, and it's not only in the Indian enterprises, actually. It's also about the students and the kids who are using AI to get their assignments done. Now, the way we look at this is, yes, there are going to be checks and balances as well in place when AI is being used. Critical thinking plus AI together, and that's where the new value delivery, the new experience is going to happen. So we definitely believe that variety of enterprises are going to put some checks and balances where they will see how AI is being used to drive the productivity, the efficiency, a lot of those discussed benefits, but at the same time, they want to enhance the mental aptitude of individuals who are using those technologies. So, in other words, AI is going to actually unleash and unlock the potential that every individual have, rather than limiting their potential. And that's the way we need to look at it.
Vala, if I look at it from what Naveen is saying, there will be a need for AI-free thinking skills in project execution. What's your thoughts on it?
I agree with everything that Naveen said, and I just wanted to double down on my point of view based on my experience working with incredible businesses in India. India is uniquely positioned to lead the AI revolution. Salesforce has more than doubled its investment in the country just in the last year alone, not just in terms of the second largest hub for us in the world for AI talent, but also investing in startups. Salesforce Ventures is investing in unicorns in India, and India right now has 125 unicorns. It's third globally in the world. And according to NASCOM research, 87% of enterprises in India are using AI solutions. And as Naveen said, they may be in the first stage or the second stage or third stage. We have companies like Air India that's using agentic AI for dispute resolution and refunds with great success. We have Hero Fund Corp that's reduced their loans for two-wheel vehicles to 30 minutes, an 80% reduction in time using AI agents. So I can give you examples of Indian enterprises that are at level 3, according to Naveen's definition, in terms of advancing beyond just predictive, beyond just generative, but using agentic. So, whether it's the startups ecosystem, you've got 198,000 startups in India. And again, according to research, 98% of these startups, digital native startups, are leveraging AI in some capacity. So, I'm incredibly bullish on the country and its ability to create critical thinking. According to Stanford research, AI global skill penetration, India is #1 in the world. You're graduating nearly 10 million STEM graduates on a regular basis. So, and as far as critical thinking, Gartner at Gartner Symposium this year forecasted that by 2028, 75% of companies are going to use AI tests in order to hire talent. So it's digital proficiency now means AI proficiency. But at the same time, Gartner predicted that throughout the next couple of years, companies will also have AI-free critical thinking assessment for onboarding new talent. So we have to make sure that we have AI proficiency. That's no longer an option, For any young graduates listening to this show, please make sure that you have applications on your mobile device and you're actively using the technology. But I as someone who enjoys movies, when I remember Iron Man and Tony Stark and Jarvis collaborating back and forth to build a hero suit, that was a beautiful example of humans and AIs co-creating value. But we must not forget, Tony Stark knew physics, he was an electrical engineer, he understood computer science, he understood mechanical engineering. So he had all those critical thinking skills, and that's what allowed him to work effortlessly with intelligent software to build the Iron Man suit. So no question, we have to stay teachable.
Naveen, a lot of Indian companies are now transitioning themselves, or I would say re-engineering themselves to become AI-centric services. Do you see that trend going up? And do you see Indian companies ready to take up that re-engineering which is required for their workforce, and in a way they are going to go to the client?
Yes, it's a very clear yes. And when we think of the agentic AI, we think of it as agentic platforms being created by some of the software companies, for example, Salesforce, SAP, and then what we also see is there are going to be agentic service providers who may take these platforms, or they will create their own platform. So a lot of services companies that we see, especially the India headquartered services companies, they are investing in a big way to deliver these agentic services to their customers. I can tell you, for example, in an insurance company, one of the Indian IT services companies worked on re-engineering their claim processing over the next 3 years in partnership with the CEO and his direct team. Now, this is a classic example of how AI, including agentic agentic AI is going to deliver business impact with the help of a contextualized, industry-specific, contextualized AI platform, which is orchestrated and delivered by a services firm. Now, a lot of these services firms are training their models within the country. That's where the compute is going. A lot of them are reskilling their people, hiring specific individuals who come with a specific industry context.
Voila. Customers are moving away, say, from AI to agentic AI and then now to agentic enterprises. Are these deployments getting real for that matter?
Are deployments getting, what was it? Yeah, I can assure you, it's getting real. As customer zero, as a company that is trying to reinvent itself, a 26-year-old company, Salesforce, that's been one of the fastest growing enterprise companies for the last 2 decades. We have agentic capabilities across our entire business. Our help.salesforce.com, the most popular customer site that we have in the world, right now has 77% satisfactory resolution rate. By the way, the human talent at Salesforce could never go beyond 61%, and we're at 77%. This is its capability we launched in November of last year. Our sales leads are being processed by agents. Our marketing campaigns are being orchestrated by agents. 1 in 5 job shifts at an 80,000 person company, Salesforce, is now guided by agents. So this is as real as it can be.
So Naveen, that brings in a little challenge here, because from an analyst point of view or from an investor's point of view, how do we measure return on investment and business impact of this AI? And what are the key performance indicators for successful agentic transformation?
Yeah, and actually, I just wanted to respond to the previous question as well, where is AI real? Yes, it is real. But as an analyst, I would definitely bring a little bit cynicism and a more balanced view, which is, number one, what we are seeing right now is we believe that there are too many POCs, which is proof of concept, but those proof of concepts translating to production, full-scale enterprise production, that remains low. And Gartner estimates that less than 15% of those POCs are going to convert to production systems. So clearly, there is a lot of effort that needs to be put in from enterprises, from providers, and the services companies together, so that this 15% of POCs can be scaled to 25, 35, and beyond. So that's a view that we need to maintain. And yes, there is also a lot of agent washing, and that is actually inhibiting market confidence and growth as well. And especially, when we think of tools such as AI assistants or chatbots, they are not necessarily agentic. So I just wanted to bring that perspective, analyst view there as well. without contradicting with what was said earlier, that yes, we need a bit of a reality check in terms of how real is this now and how this will pan out in future. Now with this, then the next question comes, which you asked me about the ROI, the business value. Now, the bigger question around the ROI is that, is this compelling enough for every enterprise to invest into agentic AI? And that is where enterprises are still spending time to think through this. They are doing their pilots and seeking help from everybody else to figure out how do they scale from what I said, the first stage, which is the pilot and the experimentation, to the second one. So yes, there is some more work that needs to be done so that we see these metrics delivering, being more meaningful for the broader enterprises in India.
Well, if you can also give me a sense of how to design a human-agent collaboration model that empowers employees rather than displacing them, because that's one of the biggest challenge for the Indian IT workforce.
No, this is a fantastic question. And, it's not about just cognitive transfer of knowledge and work to intelligent software. You also have to balance the approach of cognitive upgrade. This means, first of all, again, digital literacy is now AI literacy. At my company, it's mandatory AI training for 80,000 employees. And these courses are many, many days, weeks of training. These are not trivial 1 hour, 2 hour commitment. Weeks of training, and it's mandatory. So there's a reskilling of your employees and your customers and partners. You have to redesign the way work is done. And so there's redesign of work, there's reskilling of your talent, there's rebalancing your budget in terms of making sure that you have the right tools available to your stakeholders, and there's redeployment of talent.
Well, my final question to you is that what are the potential risks which are there, and how do you mitigate them to ensure a positive return on investments?
Look, with any emerging technology, there are always risks. We've been in tech long enough to know. This is why my advice to business leaders listening to this show: trust should be your number one core value. And trust is competence and character. And competence is reliability and capability. Character is integrity and benevolence. I love the word benevolence. Your intention. What is your intention for introducing new technology? What is your intention in terms of ensuring your employee and customer success? So as long as you're guided by trust and customer success, I think those two powerful guiding principles can help mitigate risk. And I think the most risky thing you can do right now is stand on the sidelines and watch this evolution of business models and technologies, and that's the biggest risk. And if you're standing watching, you're falling behind. This is moving faster than anything that I've experienced in 30 years of tech, and I have the privilege of working with the fastest growing companies on earth.
Naveen, are Indian companies geared for this kind of challenge, and do you think they will be able to meet this new challenge from investors' point of view? Because the biggest question many of the investors are asking them is that, are you AI ready, and will your future be AI centric services company?
From an AI centric services companies, clearly we believe that a lot of these services companies have to make the value of agentic AI clear. What do I mean by this is, think of 4 parameters where these services companies need to focus on. Number 1 is the cost impact, the financial impact. The second, the quality, which is basically the reliability of the outcomes. We all talk about the hallucination, and then, what can agentic AI do for us? Is the quality all right? Is it reliable? Number 3, the speed, the time to value, the time to transformation, some of the business use cases. how fast can I do? And fourth is the scale. How fast can I move this? So cost, quality, speed, and finally scale. These four components need to be delivered by these IT services companies.
Gentlemen, we can go on and on artificial intelligence, but as the challenge is there for many of the Indian companies to transition themselves into AI centric IT services company, and that's going to be something which the market will be looking at very closely. Thank you very much today for joining us today on Deep Dive.